Welcome back to Take the Leap Management, the podcast where we explore the innovations, challenges, and opportunities shaping the world of management and projects. We're deep into our special series on AI in portfolio management, and today we're diving into a topic that every project leader, executive, and manager has to master: stakeholder engagement. It's one of those areas of project management that can make or break a project. You can have the best strategies, the most efficient processes, and the sharpest team, but if you fail to engage and align your stakeholders, your project is at risk. Traditionally, stakeholder engagement has been about meetings, emails, surveys, and gut instincts. Project managers rely on experience to gauge how stakeholders feel about a project, how much support they have, and whether there are underlying concerns that need to be addressed. But this approach is limited. Stakeholder expectations are dynamic, their sentiment shifts quickly, and their concerns aren't always explicitly stated. This is where AI is changing the game. AI-driven stakeholder engagement allows us to analyze feedback, predict concerns, and even tailor communication strategies in ways we've never been able to before. It's turning stakeholder management into a science rather than just an art. Let's start with one of the most powerful applications of AI in this space: sentiment analysis. Imagine being able to scan through thousands of emails, meeting transcripts, surveys, and social media posts to determine exactly how stakeholders feel about a project at any given moment. That's what AI can do. Sentiment analysis uses natural language processing to evaluate tone, context, and emotion in written and spoken communication. It doesn't just look at whether feedback is positive or negative. It can detect frustration, hesitation, excitement, or even underlying concerns that haven't been explicitly raised. Let's take a real-world example. A major infrastructure project was facing opposition from local communities, but in the early stages, project leaders believed they had strong stakeholder support. When they analyzed public sentiment through traditional means, surveys and community meetings, the feedback was generally positive. But when they ran AI-driven sentiment analysis on local news articles, social media discussions, and public forum transcripts, they uncovered deep concerns about environmental impact and job displacement that weren't being raised directly in meetings. This insight allowed them to shift their engagement strategy early on, addressing concerns proactively instead of reacting to a crisis later. AI doesn't just help analyze sentiment, it can also predict how stakeholder opinions might evolve. By looking at historical data, AI can identify patterns and trends that suggest whether support for a project is strengthening or weakening. If sentiment starts shifting in a negative direction, AI can flag it before it turns into outright opposition. This allows leaders to take corrective action, whether it's increasing transparency, improving communication, or adjusting project plans to align with stakeholder expectations. Instead of reacting to problems when they arise, AI allows organizations to be proactive. But AI's role in stakeholder engagement isn't limited to analysis. It's also transforming communication strategies. One of the biggest challenges in stakeholder management is that different groups have different communication preferences. Some stakeholders prefer detailed reports, others want quick updates, and some need a mix of visual and written communication. AI can help personalize communication at scale. Imagine you're managing a large corporate initiative with multiple stakeholder groups, executives, employees, customers, regulatory bodies, and investors. Each of these groups has different interests, priorities, and preferred communication styles. AI-driven engagement platforms can analyze past interactions and recommend the best way to communicate with each group. If investors engage more with short, data-driven summaries, AI can generate concise financial reports tailored to their needs. If employees respond better to visual updates, AI can create infographics that make complex information easier to digest. This kind of tailored communication improves engagement and ensures that messages resonate with the right audiences. Another powerful application of AI in stakeholder communication is chatbots and virtual assistants. Many organizations are already using AI-driven chatbots to handle customer inquiries, but the same technology is now being applied to stakeholder engagement. AI-powered assistants can provide real-time updates on project progress, answer stakeholder questions, and even facilitate discussions. Instead of waiting for the next quarterly meeting or sifting through long reports, stakeholders can simply ask an AI assistant for the latest project insights. This kind of instant access to information fosters transparency and builds trust. Now, as exciting as these capabilities are, we need to address a critical aspect of AI-driven stakeholder management: the ethical considerations. AI is a powerful tool, but with great power comes great responsibility. When we're using AI to analyze stakeholder sentiment, we have to be mindful of privacy and data ethics. Stakeholders need to know if their feedback is being analyzed by AI, and organizations must ensure that they're using data responsibly. One major ethical concern is the potential for AI-driven bias. AI systems are only as good as the data they're trained on, and if that data reflects biases, whether cultural, organizational, or societal, those biases can influence the results. For example, if an AI tool is trained primarily on feedback from senior executives, it might undervalue concerns raised by frontline employees. If it's only analyzing written communication but ignoring verbal cues from meetings, it might miss key stakeholder concerns. Organizations using AI for stakeholder engagement need to be aware of these limitations and take steps to mitigate bias, whether it's by diversifying training data, regularly auditing AI decisions, or incorporating human oversight into the process. There's also the risk of AI being used to manipulate rather than engage stakeholders. In an ideal world, AI helps us understand stakeholders better so we can align projects with their needs. But in the wrong hands, AI insights could be used to craft misleading messages or downplay legitimate concerns. For instance, if AI detects that a particular message is more likely to generate support for a project, there's a temptation to shape communication in a way that prioritizes persuasion over transparency. Ethical AI use means ensuring that stakeholder engagement remains authentic, balanced, and built on trust rather than manipulation. Another ethical challenge is decision-making transparency. When AI suggests changes to stakeholder engagement strategies, who makes the final call? Should AI-driven sentiment analysis determine whether a project moves forward or gets adjusted? Ultimately, AI should be an enabler, not the decision maker. Human judgment, empathy, and ethical considerations must remain at the center of stakeholder engagement. AI provides insights, but it's up to leaders to act on them responsibly. Despite these challenges, the potential for AI in stakeholder engagement is enormous. It allows organizations to be more proactive, data-driven, and responsive. It makes communication more effective and tailored. It helps identify risks before they escalate. But like any tool, it must be used wisely. AI can enhance human decision-making, but it can't replace the human element, the ability to listen, empathize, and build genuine relationships. As we move into an AI-driven future, the best leaders will be those who understand how to combine technology with human intuition. They'll use AI to gain deeper insights into stakeholder needs, while ensuring that engagement remains ethical and authentic. The key takeaway is this: AI should be a partner in stakeholder management, not a replacement for the personal connections that make engagement meaningful. As we wrap up, I want to leave you with a challenge. Think about your own stakeholder engagement efforts. Are you relying on assumptions, or are you leveraging data to truly understand stakeholder sentiment? Are you communicating in a way that resonates with your audience, or are you delivering one-size-fits-all messages? AI provides an opportunity to elevate stakeholder engagement to new heights, but it's up to us to use it in a way that builds trust, fosters collaboration, and drives better outcomes. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Take the Leap Management. If you found today's discussion insightful, I encourage you to subscribe and share it with your colleagues. In our next episode, we'll be diving into how AI is transforming decision-making at the portfolio level, helping organizations align projects with their strategic objectives in smarter, more data-driven ways. Until then, keep taking the leap. And remember, the future of management is in your hands.